Hi guys, I've been receiving quite a number of requests from people asking about how I managed to get into scholarship programs to study abroad. And some people actually from many parts of African countries, they've been asking me to review their scholarship applications before they submit. My name is Seo Masaisai and welcome to my YouTube channel. So here's a bit of my personal experience that I feel made me the best candidate to get into these programs. This can be a different story for other scholarship recipients, so don't take it as a formula to get into scholarship programs, because applying for scholarships is not a rocket science. It is a matter of you being you to get into a program that you want to be into. So generally, this is what I feel like on a personal level, that when I was applying for these scholarship programs, I was very authentic into selling my personal story to the scholarship reviewers so that they can get me into the program. So here's what I want to tell you. The scholarship journey doesn't start on the day that you start your application. The scholarship journey starts probably 2 years before, or a year before, even 10 years before you apply for the scholarship. I'm saying this because most people don't show passion in their application. So for someone to prove that you're authentic, you have to show passion, you have to show vision. Even if you don't have anything tangible that we have done to society, at least do you have a passion for the things that you're talking about? For example, I'll give you, you're applying maybe for a tourism degree and you want to be funded for the scholarship. And you say you're passionate about traveling, but then they go on your social media or an Instagram account, you don't have anything that shows that you're interested in traveling. So this is how people prove to be authentic when they're applying for the scholarships. It's not just a personal statement that people go through. It's not just a CV or your grades, your certificates, or your academic qualifications. They also look into your social media and see how you say you're passionate about things that you're saying. So yes, this is very important and it's very critical to prove your identity by the things that you post on social media, the life that you live, so that you can match the interest that you're talking about in your application to what you do on a daily basis. And secondly, I want to highlight a very critical point that people oftentimes do. People tend to sell a sad story to the scholarship reviewers to say, I'm a first generation graduate in my family, I come from another privileged family, or I was raped at the age of 10. Yes, that's your sad story. Fine, but everyone has a sad story to sell. So if your application is entirely based on a sad story, then it doesn't ring a bell to say you're a scholarship material. You're just playing a pity card. So on top of a sad story, yes, it can be an advantage for you to get into that scholarship program, but then on top of your scholarship, on top of your said story, what then are you are you bringing to the table? So this is what I feel, that you have to be authentic in applying for scholarship. The other thing that I feel is very important is your research interests. So when you talk about research interests, again, it's tied to your passion. What are you passionate about? I'm passionate about human rights. I'm passionate about social justice. Carry this forward to share with the scholarship reviewers about your research interests when you get in this program. And also this aspect is very important to master's scholarship applications or PhD scholarship applications. Your research interests, what are you interested in researching about? And then does it tie to the interest of that scholarship program that you're applying to? Does it tie to the faculty that you're applying to? Because when you apply to scholarships, there's a university that you have in your mind. Maybe you're targeting Harvard, you're targeting Trinity College Dublin, you're targeting Yale University, or you're targeting any university. So now you have to go deeper into researching that faculty that you intend to join. What are their projects they are working on? And what are the professors in that faculty have been doing, their existing projects, basically, so that when you join their faculty, what are you bringing on the table? Because you can apply for a scholarship, then you cannot get a university placement. That will not work to your advantage. So you have to link your scholarship application to match with your university placement that you're interested in joining. So basically, you have to be bringing new things to the table. What are the gaps that you're bringing in the existing knowledge that you intend to fill? What is new about your research, or what are you extending to the existing literature? So this is very important to researchers, that you have to find your place in the research arena when you join the university. What are you bringing to them? So it is actually my tip now, that you have to be interdisciplinary, because this is what is selling at the moment. When you're interdisciplinary in research, it means you're not boxed in a particular space. You are useful in many things, and this is actually good for people in humanities, people in social sciences. So let's take note of these things when you apply for scholarships, and you have to have your research interest in place. And one of the things that is very important, and what I feel personally in my application is something that played my advantage, was that I had a very good academic record. to present. If you have an academic record to present, that is very excellent. For example, for me, my diploma in education was a distinction, and I also had an award, a Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Award, which put me on the top of the pyramid. On top of my Bachelor of Education is also a first class degree. So these are two distinction qualifications that I'm presenting myself. So I'm already on the top of the pyramid in terms of when reviewers are coming. There are thousands of people applying for the same scholarship. So if you know that your academic record is not strong enough to put you on top of the pyramid, then you have to work really hard into presenting yourself and making sure that you're authentic in your application. So for me, it's one of the things that I feel that put me on the top of the pyramid was because I had a lot of, I had a very good track record in my academic performances because all my qualifications are distinction and yes, even right now, if I wish to apply for a PhD, I know I'm on the top of the pyramid because my previous master's degree in education that I recently completed in Ireland is also an honors degree with distinction. So you have to work hard to make sure that if you are studying, study hard so that you get good grades that will put you on the top of the pyramid in applying. So let me take you to the second phase of what I feel also is important when you're applying for the scholarship is to understand the foreign policy of the country that you intend to study in. So let's say you are intending to study in the US, so you want to study in UK, you want to study in Ireland or in Australia. You have to know the foreign policy of that particular country that you intend to study in. Why I say so is if you're applying for a government scholarship, they have their own foreign policies that they intend to develop in your country. So for me from Zimbabwe, I should know how Australia is relating with Zimbabwe and bilateral relations. How are they working together? What is Australia's mission in Zimbabwe? So when you're doing your research, make sure that you have to pick something that is related from the foreign policy because this is a good opportunity for you to say what are you bringing to those bilateral relations and what are you giving. This is a chance for you to actually dream big, to be a politician, to make promises. But then how are you making these promises feasible and achievable? You have your current opportunities, you have your current profile that you have. Maybe let's say you're working in the government and you're a teacher or you have been working in an organization or you're a founder of an organization. I'm going to use my organization to do ABCD in relation to the Australia's foreign policy on human trafficking. You have to keep linking on your experiences, your opportunities, something that you have already in your pocket that you can use to achieve those political promises that you're putting on the table. You can't just say things to say, I'm going to do training programs with the Australian teachers and with the Zimbabwean teachers, yet you're not a teacher, you don't even have an educational qualification. So you have to use what you already have to convince the scholarship reviewers that, okay, this person is capable of doing what he's promising to do. Of course, they won't follow up after the scholarship to say, okay, we gave you the scholarship. If you done what you promised, you know what I mean? So this is what I mean to say, be very political and be very intelligent when doing this application. And let me talk about the essays. When you write your essays, the essays are usually sometimes there are 5 essays, there are 6 essays. But this essays actually is one question you just have to develop from your first essay that they ask you to talk about yourself. This is the chance where you have now to bring your vision into light. So you develop your ideas, you have to relate, not to say if I read essay number 1, I go to essay number 2, I see a different person. I go to essay number 3, I see a different person. Your essay must be coherent. They must complement each other to say, okay, you are developing from A, you are going to B, you are going to C. There's a flow of ideas into your essays, not just scattered ideas and be everywhere. So here's what most people do, and most young people do. You tend to be very desperate when you're applying for scholarships. You tend to say many things. I've been attending workshops on child abuse. I've attended workshops on HIV and AIDS. I've attended workshops on road traffic safety. So those are too many things. Just pick those that are important and that are relevant to your application. Use those experiences to cement your application. It doesn't matter that you have used 300 words, you have used 500 words. Because when you write essay, there is plus or minus 10%. But I feel when you're applying for these scholarship programs, you have to meet at least minus 10% of your word limit. So try as much as possible to be very authentic. Try as much as possible to have an academic background. If you don't have a strong academic background, then try as hard as you can to convince them how you are the scholarship material for their program. So with all this is what I feel, and this is my personal experience. So it doesn't mean that this is what you need to have. You have your own opportunities, you have your own strengths, you have your own weaknesses. It is up to you now to use your personal experience to sell yourself, and don't oversell yourself. Don't be overconfident. Just be confident. And I wish you the best in your applications. So from me, until we meet again in our next scholarship application programs, say goodbye for me.